Welcome to Weaver Beyond the Numbers Real Estate Edition livecast. I'm Rob Nowak, tax partner with Weaver. As always, I'm joined by my partner, Howard Altschuler, partner in charge of real estate services. Howard, what are we talking about today?
Well, Rob, when was the last time you bought something online and had to return it?
Oh, probably about 24 hours ago.
And what was the process like?
You know, it surprised me. It was through an e-commerce platform. So I went online, selected the purchase, indicated I wanted to return it. I got a return code and then a choice of not mailing labels to print out, but physical locations I could take the item to, or at my option, I could print out a shipping label, put it in a box and take it back. But I thought it was interesting. The options that first popped up were return to a physical location, and it was multiple physical locations just within the immediate geography.
Yeah, my daughter had the same thing happen yesterday. She bought something online and returned it back to the UPS store just by itself. So
Likewise.
so you entered the world of reverse logistics. Had you heard about that one before?
I know what logistics are. I'm guessing reverse logistics is the return process is what you're referring to.
Exactly. But it's something that a lot of people don't think about because, just like shipping stuff out to you and getting, 2-day delivery, next day delivery, 2-hour delivery,
Mm-hmm.
we kind of take it for granted that everything goes smoothly when we're returning things. But there's really a lot to it and probably a lot more to it than there is when you're shipping something out, to the customer.
Right. Well, what I thought was interesting about the process is this particular e-commerce platform, I see their trucks throughout my neighborhood on a fairly regular basis. I thought it would be interesting if they actually offered a service where, if they're making a delivery near your location anyway, why not just offer to pick up that item and actually return it back to their warehouse? I'm guessing that there's going to be a different service center or different industrial site that returns are processed at perhaps versus where items are shipped out of.
Maybe, maybe not. And, that's kind of, since we are the real estate guys, do want to talk about the real estate aspect of it.
So, what do you think the impact is on that infrastructure then, or on that process as it relates to industrial property?
Well, I think it, depends on how big the reverse logistics is going to get and what kind of stuff gets, returned. I mean, for one thing, like, let's say one of the areas that's growing in industrial is the cold storage, which is going to be more for, groceries, things like that. I don't really see people, getting a bag of groceries and then turning around and saying, I want to return the celery. You don't really do that much at the grocery store when you're there in person. And so I don't think that's going to happen on the, the e-commerce side.
Right.
But what I do think is that, for more, dry goods, I think you're going to see that that's going to continue to increase as people get more comfortable with online shopping, especially, it's what's your size, and do you have to order 2 or 3 things to get the right size of what you're looking for, and then make sure that you return what doesn't fit or what you don't like.
Right. I agree with you. I don't see it being a return environment around perishable items. It's going to be more of those items that easily fit within a box or a bag that can be dropped off and aren't going to spoil. So like that UPS store is going to, batch up those returns into some sort of individual packaging, put them into a big box and send them back to some reverse logistics type of a facility.
Right. And so the question then becomes, is that reverse logistics facility built in with the, shall we say, forward logistics facility, or do some of the bigger players start to build, new places just to handle the returns?
Yeah, I mean, I think that could trigger even further growth on the industrial side. For every one logistics facility, or let's say for every 10 logistics facilities, there might need to be 1 or 2 reverse logistics facilities just to handle the flow of goods back in and then redistribute those to their warehouses so that those items can be resold.
Right. And if you recall, a couple of months ago, we talked about repurposing retail. And we had talked about, taking a department store and maybe turning part of it into a distribution center or fulfillment center, and maybe, upstairs being fulfillment, or maybe upstairs being retail, downstairs being fulfillment. But maybe it becomes a matter of you take a project like that and downstairs is fulfillment and upstairs is returns.
Yeah, that's interesting because we did talk about that last mile logistics, right? Where we're getting where we're putting a warehouse in a more residential area that can then obviously transport those goods and orders out to the population. It would be interesting to see if they do modify that to include that reverse logistics hub as well, so that I'm not dropping it off, let's say at the UPS store or Kohl's, but I'm going to drop it off directly at that e-commerce site, probably reducing shrinkage and loss and damage along the way and enabling them to better control the re-inventory, repackage, and resale of those items.
Right. But, and I think that makes a lot of sense. I think also the thing with the reverse logistics is by virtue of there being obviously less returns than initial purchases, they could be a little bit smaller too. Right. You're not going to need a 1 million square foot warehouse to hold, returns, unless maybe it be some type of a regional, depot or something like that. But, from the standpoint of ease of customers, you could build something into a storefront perhaps, or, some other infill location where you just don't need that much space. Could probably deal with, keep it under a retail zoning, right, as opposed to a industrial zoning, and just make it really convenient for the customers to, to return their items.
Yeah. So then your platform is involved in the entire customer experience from the time the order is placed to the delivery, and then on the return side as well. You're not relying on a third-party intermediary where you lose control of that process and lose control of the chain and lose control of the customer experience as well.
Exactly. So, cradle to grave from the time you order till the time you either are satisfied with your purchase or get your money back.
Yeah.
You're dealing with the same company.
Absolutely.
So, all right. Well, just wanted to have a brief discussion about that. I think it's something that you're going to see more and more of as we go on, as people continue to buy online and realize they don't like what they got or it doesn't fit, or maybe I clicked the button twice and I got 2 of them, and start to see things going back the other direction.
Yeah, and in the try on and buy, or the try on and buy has become the buy and try on, right? Mm-hmm. And return. So I agree with you. I think it's a relevant topic. We're going to see more and more of that. Thanks everybody for joining us. That's about all the time we have for today. We'll be back next week with another live cast. Until then, I'm Rob Nowak with Weaver, and joined by Howard Altschuler, partner in charge of real estate services for Weaver. Talk with you all soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.